What if I told you that an entire industry built on telling you to wake up at 5 a.m. and hustle harder is worth billions of dollars, and that the apps promising to make you productive are designed to keep you feeling like you're never productive enough? Stick around, because this rabbit hole goes way deeper than you think. Picture this. You're scrolling through Instagram at midnight. You see a guy standing in front of a private jet. He's talking about how he wakes up at 4 a.m., does cold plunges, meditates for an hour, and makes 6 figures per month. He says you can too. All you need is his $997 course on productivity and mindset. You're tired, you're stressed, you feel like you're not accomplishing enough, so you buy the course. Congratulations, you just became part of a multi-billion-dollar industry built on selling you the idea that you're not working hard enough. The self-help industry is worth over $13 billion annually. That's billion with a B. Motivational speakers charge $100,000 for a single speech. Productivity apps have hundreds of millions of users paying monthly subscriptions. Tony Robbins has a net worth over $500 million from telling people to unleash their inner power. David Goggins sells books about suffering and makes millions. These people aren't just successful. They've created an entire economy around making you feel inadequate so they can sell you the solution. And it's not just gurus. It's apps like Notion, Todoist, and Asana. It's courses on time management and goal setting. It's journals, planners, and habit trackers. An entire industry exists to convince you that you're not productive enough and that their product is the answer. But here's what nobody tells you. Most of these gurus don't actually do what they preach. The productivity apps are designed to make you feel busy without actually getting more done. The courses are recycled common sense wrapped in fancy language. The whole industry is built on a lie. The lie that you're broken and need fixing. That you're lazy and need motivation. That if you just bought this one more app or took this one more course, finally, you'd be successful. Today, you're getting the complete story of the motivation and productivity industry. How it started, how it became a billion-dollar empire, who's making money and how they do it, the psychology they use to manipulate you, and why the entire thing might be making you less productive, not more. This is about way more than self-help. This is about an industry that's hijacked human ambition and turned it into a subscription business. And trust me, once you see how it works, you'll never look at a motivational quote the same way again. Let's start with how the self-help industry began. Self-improvement isn't new. People have always wanted to better themselves. But the modern self-help industry started in the early 1900s with a guy named Napoleon Hill. In 1937, Napoleon published Think and Grow Rich, one of the first self-help books. The premise was simple: your thoughts create your reality. If you think positive thoughts and visualize success, you'll become successful. The book sold millions of copies and created a template that every self-help guru since has followed. The interesting thing about Napoleon Hill is that most of his success stories were exaggerated or completely made up. He claimed to have interviewed Andrew Carnegie and hundreds of other successful people, but historians have found almost no evidence these interviews happened. Napoleon Hill was essentially creating a mythology. He was selling the idea that success came from mindset, not from actual skills, connections, or luck. This was appealing because it meant anyone could be successful. You didn't need talent or resources. You just needed the right attitude. And conveniently, Napoleon could teach you that attitude through his books. The self-help industry exploded in the 1960s and 70s. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People sold millions. Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking became a phenomenon. These books promised that changing your mindset would change your life. The message was intoxicating. You're not failing because of systemic barriers or bad luck. You're failing because of your attitude. Change your attitude and you'll succeed. This put all the responsibility on the individual. It also meant failures were your fault. If you weren't successful, you didn't want it badly enough. You didn't believe hard enough. In the 1980s, Tony Robbins emerged and took self-help to a new level. Tony was a charismatic speaker who held massive seminars where thousands of people would pay to hear him talk about unleashing their potential. He pioneered the high-energy motivational seminar format, loud music, emotional testimonials, people walking on hot coals to prove they could overcome fear. Tony's seminars were part psychology, part rock concert, part religious revival. They were incredibly effective at making people feel empowered in the moment. Whether that empowerment lasted after they went home was another question. Tony made millions, eventually hundreds of millions, from these seminars. He also created a model that every guru since has copied: charge thousands for the basic seminar, then upsell to the advanced seminar for tens of thousands, then offer one-on-one coaching for hundreds of thousands. Create a funnel where the most committed customers keep spending more. This model is genius from a business perspective. You're filtering customers by willingness to pay. The people who believe most in your message are the ones who keep buying. And the more they spend, the more they need to believe it works. Otherwise, they wasted their money. The psychology here is important. It's called sunk cost fallacy. Once you've spent thousands on Tony Robbins seminars, you need to believe it's working. Admitting it didn't help would mean admitting you wasted money. So you convince yourself it's valuable, you become a testimonial. You tell others how much it helped. This creates more customers. It's a self-perpetuating system. The more you spend, the more you need to believe. The more you promote it, the more others buy. Tony Robbins' success isn't proof his methods work. It's proof his marketing works. The 2000s brought the internet and everything changed suddenly. Anyone could be a motivational guru. You didn't need to hold physical seminars. You could create a YouTube channel or Instagram account if you were charismatic and said the right things. You could build an audience, and with an audience, you could sell courses, coaching, and products. The barrier to entry collapsed. Thousands of people became life coaches and motivational speakers with no credentials or training, just a laptop and confidence. This democratization had good and bad effects. Good because diverse voices entered the space. People from different backgrounds could share their perspectives. Bad because it flooded the market with scammers. People with no expertise claiming they could teach you to make six figures or achieve your dreams. The worst offenders were the get-rich-quick gurus. Guys who made money by teaching others how to make money. Their only real skill was marketing themselves. They'd rent luxury cars and mansions for photos. They post screenshots of bank accounts or expensive watches, all to create the illusion of success. And they'd sell courses on how you could be successful too. The catch: their income came from selling courses, not from whatever business method they claimed to teach. The fake guru phenomenon became rampant. Tai Lopez became infamous for his "Here in My Garage" video where he bragged about his Lamborghini and books. He sold courses on social media marketing and entrepreneurship. Investigations revealed much of his wealth came from selling courses, not from businesses he built. His courses were filled with generic advice you could find for free. But he was an incredible marketer. He understood that showing wealth was more persuasive than demonstrating expertise. People wanted to believe they could have his lifestyle, so they bought the course. Dan Lok, another guru, claimed to be a multimillionaire entrepreneur. He sold courses on high-ticket closing and business. Former students revealed his courses were low quality and his business success was exaggerated. Grant Cardone built a massive following selling courses on sales and real estate. Critics pointed out his main income was from courses and speaking, not from the businesses he taught. The pattern was clear. The gurus were making money from teaching success, not from being successful at what they taught. It was a media scam, selling the idea of success, rather than providing any actual path to success. But it worked because of psychology. When you're struggling, when you feel stuck, you're vulnerable. You want to believe there's a simple solution, that someone has figured it out and can teach you. The gurus exploited this desperation. They detarget their ads at people searching for how to make money or how to be successful. They'd use testimonials from students, many of whom were making money by selling the same course. It was a pyramid scheme dressed up as education. Now let's talk about the productivity app industry. This is a different beast, but connected to the same psychology. In the 2000s, as smartphones became ubiquitous, entrepreneurs realized they could build apps to help people manage their lives. To-do lists, calendars, note-taking apps, habit trackers. The idea was that technology could make you more organized and productive. And unlike motivational seminars, apps seemed practical and scientific. They weren't about mindset, they were tools. This made them more appealing to skeptical people. Evernote was one of the pioneers. Launched in 2008, Evernote let you capture notes, web clippings, and ideas in one place. The tagline was "Remember everything." Evernote promised to be your external brain. You could dump everything into Evernote and it would organize it for you. The app was free but had a premium tier for $5 per month. Millions of people signed up. By 2012, Evernote had 25 million users and was valued at $1 billion. They created a new category, the productivity app. Other apps followed. Todoist for to-do lists, Trello for project management, Notion combined notes, tasks, and databases into one flexible workspace. These apps all promise the same thing. Use our app and you'll be more productive. You'll finally get organized, you'll accomplish more. And for many people, these apps genuinely helped. Having a centralized place for tasks and notes is useful. But the apps also created new problems. The problem is app overload. Once you have one productivity app, you see ads for another that promises to be even better. Maybe Todoist isn't enough. You need Notion too, and Trello for team projects, and a habit tracker, and a time tracking app. Before you know it, you have 10 productivity apps. You spend more time organizing your tasks across apps than actually doing the tasks. This is a known phenomenon in the productivity community. It's called productivity porn. Consuming productivity content and tools instead of actually being productive. The apps encourage this through smart design. They gamify productivity. Todoist gives you karma points for completing tasks. Strix apps show how many consecutive days you've completed a habit, pressuring you to not break the streak. These gamification features use the same psychological tricks as social media and video games. They trigger dopamine releases in your brain. Checking off a task feels good. Maintaining a streak feels good. But these feel-good moments don't necessarily correlate with actual accomplishment. You can spend all day completing trivial tasks to get karma points while avoiding the important work. That actually matters. Notion is particularly interesting. Launched in 2016, Notion combined notes, tasks, wikis, and databases into one highly customizable workspace. Notion's flexibility is its selling point. You can build any kind of system you want. But this flexibility creates a new problem. People spend hours building elaborate Notion setups. They watch YouTube tutorials on Notion templates. They browse forums comparing Notion systems. They're obsessing over the tool instead of using it. Notion has spawned an entire sub-industry. People sell Notion templates for productivity systems. They make money teaching others how to use Notion. It's meta again, making money from the tools of productivity rather than being productive. The subscription model amplified this problem. In the old days, you buy software once and use it forever. Now everything is a subscription. Notion charges $10 per month. Evernote is $8. Todoist is $5. If you use multiple productivity apps, you're paying $30 to $50 per month. That's $360 to $600 per year for apps that are supposed to make you more productive. But here's the catch. The apps make money whether you're productive or not. They just need you subscribed. And the best way to keep you subscribed is to make you feel like you need the app. Like without it, you'd be disorganized and unproductive. This creates a dependency. You become afraid to leave the app because all your data is in it. Notion holds your notes, tasks, and projects. Switching to another app means migrating everything. It's a hassle, so you stay subscribed even if you're not using it much. This is called lock-in. The apps aren't competing on whether they make you productive. They're competing on how well they trap you in their ecosystem. Let's talk about the YouTuber productivity gurus. These are a new breed. They're not traditional motivational speakers. They're young, tech-savvy people who make videos about productivity systems and tools. Ali Abdaal is one of the biggest. He's a British doctor who quit medicine to make YouTube videos about productivity. He has millions of subscribers and makes millions per year from YouTube ads, sponsorships, and courses. His videos have titles like How I Manage My Time, The Time Blocking Method, and My Productivity System, and Notion. Ali's content is genuinely useful. He's smart and explains concepts clearly. But there's an irony. He makes money telling people how to be productive. His full-time job is creating content about productivity, not actually doing the work he's trying to be productive for. He left medicine, the thing he trained for years to do, to make videos about how to be productive at your job. This isn't a criticism of Ali specifically. He's found a lucrative niche and he's good at it, but it highlights the absurdity of the productivity industry. The most successful people in productivity aren't using productivity techniques to excel at their field. They're using productivity techniques to build audiences so they can sell productivity advice. Thomas Frank is another huge productivity YouTuber. He has millions of subscribers and sells courses on productivity and learning. Matt Develop makes minimalism and productivity videos. They're all smart, articulate, and helpful, but they've all turned productivity itself into their business. The thing they're productive at is producing content about productivity. It's a closed loop, and their audiences, many of whom watch these videos instead of working, are feeding the machine. The productivity YouTube rabbit hole is real. You start watching one video about how to take better notes, then YouTube recommends another about time management, then another about morning routines. Before you know it, you've spent 2 hours watching productivity videos instead of being productive. You feel like you're doing something useful because you're learning, but you're not actually accomplishing anything. This is productivity porn at its finest. Consuming content about being productive while actively being unproductive. Now let's talk about the morning routine obsession. This is one of the most pervasive ideas in the productivity world. Successful people have morning routines. They wake up early, exercise, meditate, journal, and read before most people are awake. If you adopt a morning routine, you'll be successful too. This idea has been pushed by countless books, videos, and gurus. The 5 a.m. Club, Miracle Morning, articles about the morning routines of CEOs. The message is clear. Wake up early and you'll crush the day. But here's what they don't tell you. Most successful people's morning routines are possible because they're already successful. Tim Cook wakes up at 3:45 a.m. because he's the CEO of Apple. He can take a long morning because he controls his schedule. He has a driver, a chef, and assistants handling logistics. The guru telling you to wake up at 5 a.m. doesn't mention they do. Have kids to get ready for school or a long commute to a job they hate. Their lives are already optimized in ways yours isn't. Copying their morning routine won't give you their life circumstances. The science on morning routines is mixed. Yes, having a consistent morning routine can be beneficial. It creates structure and reduces decision fatigue. But the specific elements, waking up at 5 a.m., meditating, cold showers, are not universally beneficial. Some people are night owls. Forcing them to wake up at 5 a.m. makes them less productive, not more. Some people find meditation helpful, others don't. There's no one-size-fits-all morning routine, but the productivity industry sells the idea that there is. That successful people have cracked the code and you just need to follow their formula. The hustle culture is deeply embedded in modern productivity content. The idea that you should be working constantly, optimizing every moment, always improving. Rest is seen as laziness. Taking a break means you don't want it badly enough. Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, is the poster child for hustle culture. His content is all about working harder than everyone else. Hustle, grind, execute. His message is that if you're not working 18 hours per day, you're not serious. And millions of people, especially young entrepreneurs, have internalized this message. But hustle culture is toxic. It leads to burnout, anxiety, and depression. It makes people feel guilty for resting. It creates an unsustainable pace that damages mental and physical health. And ironically, it doesn't even lead to better results. Research shows that after a certain point, more hours don't mean more productivity. Tired, burned out people make mistakes and produce low-quality work. Rest and recovery are essential for high performance. But hustle culture denies this. It treats humans like machines that can just run harder. David Goggins represents an extreme version of this. His whole brand is about suffering and pushing through pain. His book Can't Hurt Me is about how he overcame a terrible childhood and Navy SEAL training through mental toughness. His message is that you're soft and need to suffer more. That comfort is the enemy. That pain is the path to growth. This resonates with people, especially men, who feel weak or inadequate. David gives them permission to be harsh on themselves, to embrace suffering as a badge of honor. But David's philosophy is dangerous when taken to extremes. Yes, mental toughness and resilience are valuable, but glorifying suffering can lead to ignoring your body's signals, to pushing through injuries, to sacrificing relationships and health for goals. David himself admits he's destroyed his body through his extreme training. He's had multiple surgeries and deals with chronic pain. Is that success? Or is it self-destruct dressed up as discipline? The issue is that the productivity and motivation industry cherry picks extreme examples and presents them as ideals. Navy SEALs, ultramarathoners, billionaire CEOs. These are outliers by definition. Most people are not outliers, but the industry tells you that you should be. That you're failing if you're not as disciplined as a Navy SEAL or as successful as Elon Musk. This creates impossible standards. You inevitably fail, and when you fail, the gurus have an answer. You need more discipline. You need their advanced course. You need to buy their book. It's always your fault for not doing enough, never their fault for setting unrealistic expectations. Let's talk about the goal-setting industrial complex. Every productivity guru emphasizes setting goals, smart goals, stretch goals, long-term vision. Vision boards. The premise is that you need clear goals to be successful. If you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there. This sounds logical, and for many people, having goals is motivating. But the productivity industry has turned goal setting into an obsession. People spend hours creating elaborate goal-setting frameworks. They write annual goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals. They track everything in spreadsheets and apps. They review their goals constantly. The goal setting becomes the focus instead of the actual work toward goals. It's another form of productivity porn. You feel productive because you're working on your goal system, but you're not actually making progress on the goals themselves. There's also research suggesting that overemphasis on goals can be counterproductive. When you focus only on goals, you miss opportunities that don't fit your predetermined path. You become rigid. You also tie your self-worth to achieving specific outcomes, which are often outside your control. If you don't hit your goal, you feel like a failure. This can be demotivating. Some researchers suggest focusing on systems and processes instead of goals. Build habits and routines that move you in the right direction. Let the outcomes take care of themselves. This is less sexy than big, audacious goals, so the productivity industry doesn't emphasize it. The habit tracking phenomenon is another rabbit hole. Apps like Habitica, Streaks, and sections of Notion dedicated to habit tracking. The idea is to track daily habits and build consistency. Did you exercise today? Did you read? Did you meditate? Check the boxes. Build the streak. This can be helpful for building habits. The visual reminder and the satisfaction of checking boxes creates positive reinforcement. But it can also become obsessive. People track dozens of habits. They feel anxious if they miss a day. They prioritize maintaining streaks over actual well-being. The the tracking becomes more important than the habits benefit. Some people spend more time tracking habits than doing them. And when they inevitably miss a day or fail to maintain all their habits, they feel like failures. The tool that was supposed to help becomes a source of stress and guilt. James Clear's book Atomic Habits sold millions of copies and became the Bible of habit formation. The book is excellent. It explains the psychology of habits clearly and provides actionable strategies. But the popularity of Atomic Habits also shows the desperation people feel. They're looking for a formula to fix themselves. They want someone to tell them exactly how to become disciplined and successful. James provides that formula, and for many people, it helps. But for many others, it becomes another thing they consume without implementing. They read the book, feel motivated for a week, then fall back into old patterns. The book sits on the shelf as a reminder of another failed attempt at self-improvement. The irony is that the productivity industry, which is supposed to help you accomplish things, often prevents you from accomplishing things. You spend so much time consuming productivity content, buying productivity tools, and organizing your productivity systems that you have no time left for actual productive work. It's like spending all of your time at the gym researching workout plans instead of actually working out. The preparation becomes a substitute for the action. Let's examine the psychology behind why this industry is so successful. At its core, the productivity and motivation industry exploits fundamental human insecurities. Most people feel like they're not accomplishing enough. They compare themselves to others on social media and feel inadequate. They have dreams and goals they haven't achieved. They feel stuck. The industry offers hope. It says you're not broken. You just need the right system, the right mindset, the right tools. This is incredibly appealing. It means success is achievable. You just need to buy this course or download this app. The industry also exploits the fresh start effect. People love the idea of reinventing themselves. New year, new me. Every Monday is a fresh start. Every month is an opportunity to reboot your life. Productivity gurus and apps capitalize on this. They position their products as the catalyst for your fresh start. This course will be the one that finally changes everything. This app will be the system you stick with. Of course, it usually isn't. But by the time you realize that, you've already bought it. And then the next fresh start opportunity comes around, and you're ready to try again with a new guru or app. There's also a status element. In certain circles, especially entrepreneurial and tech communities, being into productivity is a status symbol. Having an elaborate Notion setup signals you're serious and sophisticated. Reading productivity books shows you're committed to self-improvement. Following the right gurus indicates you're part of an in-group. The productivity itself becomes less important than signaling that you care about productivity. Social media amplifies this. People post screenshots of their productivity systems. They share their morning routines and habit trackers. They post book reviews of the latest productivity bestseller. This creates social pressure. If everyone else is optimizing their lives, you need to as well. You're falling behind. This FOMO, fear of missing out, drives purchases of courses and apps. You don't want to be the only one not using the hot new productivity tool. The self-improvement space also attracts people with underlying mental health issues. People with ADHD, anxiety, or depression often struggle with productivity and organization. They're looking for solutions. The productivity industry promises to help, but often doesn't address the root issues. A productivity app won't fix ADHD. A morning routine won't cure depression. But people keep trying because they desperately want something to work. And the gurus keep selling because there is always someone new who hasn't tried their particular solution yet. The motivational speaking circuit is particularly lucrative. Top speakers like Tony Robbins, Brené Brown, and Simon Sinek charge $100,000 to $300,000 per speech. They're hired by corporations for annual meetings and conferences. The idea is that a motivational speech will inspire employees to work harder and be more engaged. Sometimes it works in the short term, People leave feeling pumped up and ready to perform, but the effect almost always fades. Within days, motivation is temporary. The systemic issues that cause disengagement, like poor management, low pay, or toxic culture, don't change because of a speech. But corporations keep paying for motivational speakers because it's easier than actually fixing problems. It's cheaper to pay $100,000 for a speech than to raise salaries or improve working conditions. And it looks like leadership is doing something. We brought in a motivational speaker to boost morale. Never mind that the morale boost lasts about 48 hours. The optics are good, and the speakers profit handsomely from this corporate theater. The online course economy is another massive part of this industry. Anyone can create a course on anything. Platforms like Teachable, Kajabi, and Udemy make it easy. The successful course creators aren't successful because their courses are exceptional. They're successful because they're good marketers. They build email lists. They use sales funnels. They create scarcity with limited time offers. They use testimonials and social proof. They understand copywriting and persuasion. Their main skill is selling courses, not the subject they're teaching. This creates a strange dynamic where the best marketing often comes from the worst courses, because the creator has invested more in learning marketing than in their supposed area of expertise. The coaching industry is similar. Everyone is a coach now. Life coach, business coach, mindset coach, productivity coach. There's no certification required. You can literally wake up tomorrow, call yourself a coach, and start charging clients. Some coaches are genuinely helpful. They provide accountability, perspective, and support. But many are selling vague advice and charging hundreds or thousands of dollars for it. The coaching industry is expected to be worth $20 billion by 2025. That is a lot of money for what is often just someone telling you things you already know but aren't doing. The supplement and biohacking industries overlap with productivity culture. The idea is that you can optimize your biology for peak performance. Nootropics to boost brain function, supplements for energy and focus, gadgets like sleep trackers and continuous glucose monitors. The promise is that by hacking your biology, you can be more productive. Some of this has merit. Sleep is important, nutrition affects cognitive function. But the industry overpromises. Most nootropics have minimal effects. The expensive gadgets provide data, but not necessarily improvements. But people keep buying because the promise of biological optimization is seductive. Dave Asprey, the founder of Bulletproof Coffee, has built an empire on biohacking. He sells coffee, supplements, books, and advice on optimizing health and performance. His most famous product is Bulletproof Coffee, coffee blended with butter and MCT oil. Dave claims it boosts energy and cognitive function. The science is questionable. Blending fat into coffee isn't revolutionary, but Dave marketed it brilliantly. He created a brand around high performance living, and people pay premium prices for his products because they want to believe they are giving themselves an edge. The problem with biohacking is that it medicalizes normal human variation. Some days you're more energetic, some days you're tired. This is normal. But biohacking culture frames this as a problem to solve. If you're tired, you need to optimize your sleep, your diet, your supplements. You need to track everything. This creates anxiety. You're constantly monitoring yourself for suboptimal performance. You can never just be. You're always trying to improve. And conveniently, there's always another product to buy, another thing to track, another optimization to make. Let's talk about the dark side of productivity culture. The burnout, the anxiety, the constant feeling of inadequacy. When you're immersed in productivity content, you're bombarded with messages that you should be doing more, that everyone else is hustling harder, that if you're not constantly improving, you're falling behind. This creates chronic stress. You can never relax because relaxation feels like wasted time. Every moment not spent productively feels like failure. This is especially harmful for young people. Teenagers and 20-somethings are drowning in productivity and hustle content. They see influencers their age claiming to make millions. They see peers building startups and personal brands. They feel pressure to have achieved significant success by 25. This is historically unprecedented. Previous generations had time to figure things out. Now, social media creates the illusion that everyone is successful early, and if you're not, you're behind. This causes massive anxiety and depression among young people. The productivity culture also intersects with capitalism's demand for constant productivity. The gurus tell you to maximize every moment, to monetize your hobbies, to build a side hustle. There's no separation between work and life. Everything is work. Everything is about optimization and output. This serves capitalism perfectly. It creates workers who voluntarily exploit themselves. They don't need a boss pushing them. They've internalized the pressure. They're their own worst boss. This is why corporations love productivity culture. It makes workers more productive without the company having to do anything. The rejection of productivity culture is starting. There's a growing movement of people pushing back the anti-hustle movement, the emphasis on rest and recovery, the recognition that productivity isn't the most important thing in life, that relationships, creativity, and simply existing matter, that you don't need to optimize every moment, that it's okay to be unproductive sometimes. This counter-movement is healthy. It recognizes that the productivity obsession has gone too far. Cal Newport's book Digital Minimalism and his broader work on slow productivity represents this pushback. Cal argues for doing fewer things, working at a natural pace, and focusing on quality over quantity. This is antithetical to hustle culture. It's about being intentional rather than maximizing. Cal's work resonates because people are exhausted. They're tired of feeling like they're never doing enough. They want permission to slow down, and Cal gives them that permission backed by research and logic. The 4-day workweek movement is another rejection of productivity culture. The idea is that working fewer hours can actually increase productivity, that the standard 40-hour workweek is arbitrary and outdated. Experiments with 4-day workweeks have shown that workers are happier, healthier, and often more productive. They focus better. They waste less time. They're more creative. This challenges the hustle culture narrative that more hours equals more output. It suggests that rest and balance are productive strategies, not indulgences. The question is whether these counter-movements can actually challenge the multi-billion-dollar industry. The incentives are against it. There's no money in telling people they're fine as they are. There's no money in saying you don't need another app or course. The entire industry is built on creating and exploiting insecurity. The gurus and companies make money by making you feel inadequate. They won't stop doing that voluntarily. The system is self-perpetuating. As long as people feel inadequate, there will be products to sell them. And the products themselves often reinforce the inadequacy to keep customers coming back. So where does this leave us? The productivity and motivation industry isn't going away. It's too profitable. Too many people have built businesses on it. Too many consumers are invested in it, both financially and emotionally. But individuals can opt out. They can recognize the manipulation. They can stop consuming productivity porn. They can delete the unnecessary apps. They can reject the narrative that they're not working hard enough. They can define success on their own terms rather than the terms set by gurus who profit from their insecurity. The healthy approach to productivity is probably somewhere in the middle. Some structure and organization is helpful. Basic time management and goal setting can improve outcomes. But obsessing over optimization and constantly feeling behind is harmful. The key is intention. Choose the tools and practices that genuinely help you. Ignore the rest. Don't let productivity become an end in itself. It's a means to an end. You want to be productive so you can accomplish things that matter to you and have time for what you value. If your productivity system is making you miserable or preventing you from living, it's not working. No matter how many guru testimonials claim otherwise. The apps and tools can be useful, but they're just tools. They don't have magic powers. Notion won't make you organized if you're fundamentally disorganized. Todoist won't make you disciplined if you lack discipline. The apps are only as good as the person using them. And for many people, simpler is better. A plain text file or paper notebook might serve you better than an elaborate app ecosystem. The best productivity system is the one you actually use consistently, not the one that looks coolest or that some YouTuber swears by. The motivation and self-help content can be inspiring, but inspiration is fleeting. It doesn't replace action. Watching motivational videos or reading self-help books feels productive, but isn't. It's preparation at best, procrastination at worst. At some point, you have to close the YouTube video and do the work. And the work is usually boring, difficult, and uncomfortable. No amount of motivation changes that. Discipline and systems matter more than motivation. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. And that's not something you can buy in a course. The billion-dollar business of motivation gurus and productivity apps is one of the most successful industries of the 21st century. It's built on a simple premise. You're not good enough as you are. You need to be more productive, more disciplined, more motivated, and conveniently, we have products to sell you. The gurus make millions giving speeches and selling courses filled with common sense advice dressed up as revolutionary insights. The apps charge monthly subscriptions to help you organize tasks you could write on paper. The whole industry exists in the gap between who you are and who you think you should be, and it profits immensely from making you feel like the gap is bigger than it is. The psychology is brilliant and ruthless. Exploit people's insecurities. Offer hope through products. Make the products good enough to keep people engaged, but not so good that they solve the problem completely. Because if the problem is solved, the customer leaves. Better to keep them coming back for the next app, the next course, the next level. The industry has perfected the art of making you feel like you're always one purchase away from finally figuring it out. But here's what they won't tell you. Most successful people aren't successful because they had the perfect morning routine or used the right productivity app. They're successful because they had advantages like resources, connections, education, or luck, or because they worked on the right things at the right time, or because they were willing to sacrifice things you might not want to sacrifice. The gurus reduce success to a formula because formulas sell. But life doesn't work that way. There's no guaranteed path, no perfect system, no magic routine that will transform you into a millionaire. The productivity apps won't make you productive. They'll give you the illusion of productivity while you spend hours setting them up and organizing your tasks. The motivational speeches won't change your life. They'll give you a temporary emotional high that fades as soon as you face real challenges. The courses won't teach you secrets. They'll teach you things you could have learned from books or free content if you'd actually looked. But looking doesn't feel as good as buying. Buying feels like action. Buying feels like you're investing in yourself. And the industry knows this. They've built their entire business model around making buying feel like progress. The darkest part is how this industry has shaped culture. We now live in a world where people feel guilty for resting, where vacations are seen as productivity killers rather than necessities, where children are taught to optimize and hustle before they've even figured out who they are, where mental health is framed as a productivity problem, where your worth as a human is measured by your output. This is dystopian, and it's exactly what the productivity and motivation industry wants. Because a culture that values humans only for their productivity is a culture where productivity products will always have a market. The counter movements are important and necessary. The recognition that rest matters, that you don't need to monetize every hobby, that life is about more than output, that relationships and experiences and simply existing have value independent of productivity. These ideas are radical in a culture obsessed with optimization, but they're essential for human well-being. The productivity culture is making us sick. It's creating burnout, anxiety, and depression at epidemic levels. We need to reject the narrative that we're never doing enough, that we always need to be better, faster, more. The reality is that most people are doing fine. You're probably doing fine. You don't need another app. You don't need another course. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. or work 80 hours per week. You need to define success on your own terms. Figure out what actually matters to you, not what Instagram influencers say should matter, not what the gurus claim is important, what you genuinely value, and then organize your life around that. Maybe that involves some productivity tools. Maybe it doesn't, but it definitely doesn't require spending thousands on courses or feeling guilty every time. You're not optimizing. The gurus will keep selling. The apps will keep adding features and charging subscriptions. The industry will keep growing because there is always a new generation of people feeling inadequate and looking for solutions. But you can opt out. You can recognize that the game is rigged, that the industry profits from your feeling of inadequacy, that buying their products often makes the feeling worse, not better. Because now you've spent money and you still haven't solved your problems. And the industry's answer is that you need to buy more. Try the advanced course, upgrade to premium, buy the coaching package. It's a trap, and the only way to escape is to stop playing. Stop consuming productivity content as entertainment. Stop buying apps you won't use. Stop taking courses that rehash basic advice. Stop following gurus who make you feel bad about yourself. Start doing the work instead of preparing to do the work. Start accepting that you're human and humans aren't meant to be optimized like machines. Start valuing rest, play, and inefficiency as essential parts of a good life. Start measuring success by your own standards, instead of Instagram's. The billion-dollar business of motivation gurus and productivity apps isn't going anywhere. There's too much money in it. Too many people's careers depend on it. Too much of modern culture is built on the premise that you need to constantly improve and optimize. But understanding how it works gives you power. Power to resist the manipulation. Power to make conscious choices about what you consume and buy. Power to define productivity and success for yourself, rather than letting an industry define it for you. And maybe, just maybe, if enough people opt out, if enough people reject the narrative that they're not good enough, if enough people stop buying the courses and deleting the apps and unfollowing the gurus, the industry will have to change. Maybe it will shift from exploiting insecurity to actually helping people, from selling hope to delivering value, from creating dependency to enabling autonomy. That's probably naive. Capitalism rewards exploitation more than it rewards helping. But at least on an individual level, you can free yourself. You can recognize that you're enough as you are, that you don't need to be fixed. That productivity is a tool to live the life you want, not a measure of your worth as a human. The motivation and productivity industry has convinced millions of people that they're broken and need fixing, that they're lazy and need external motivation, that they're disorganized and need another app. It's all a lie designed to separate you from your money. The truth is simpler and less profitable. You're not broken, you're human. You have strengths and weaknesses like everyone else. You have good days and bad days. Some days you're productive and some days you're not. And that's okay. That's normal. That's life. The industry makes billions by making you forget this, by making you think that successful people have cracked some code that you're missing, that there's a secret formula to life that you haven't discovered yet, that if you just tried hard enough, bought the right products, followed the right system, you'd finally be successful and happy. But the people selling this message are often miserable themselves. They're on the hamster wheel just like you, working constantly, optimizing endlessly, never satisfied, making money by teaching a lifestyle they themselves haven't achieved. The most productive thing you can do might be to stop trying to be so productive, to stop consuming productivity content and just do the work, to use simple tools that actually help instead of complicated systems that feel good to build, to focus on the few things that really matter instead of optimizing everything, to accept that good enough is often good enough, that perfectionism is often procrastination in disguise, that done is better than perfect. These are cliches, but they're cliches because they're true. You don't need this industry. It needs you. It needs you to feel inadequate so it can sell you solutions. It needs you to keep searching for the perfect system so you keep buying new apps and courses. It needs you to believe that everyone else has figured it out except you, Because if you realize that everyone is struggling, that nobody has it all figured out, that the gurus are just good at marketing, the whole thing would collapse. The emperor has no clothes. The productivity guru has no special knowledge. The app is just a fancy to-do list. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So what should you do? If you're reading this and you've spent hundreds or thousands on productivity apps and courses and coaching, I'm sorry, you were sold a lie. But you can stop now. You can cancel the subscriptions. You can stop watching the videos. You can delete the apps you never use. You can give yourself permission to be imperfect, to be human, to have limits, to rest without guilt, to do less, to be less. And in doing so, you might actually become more authentic, more focused, more present, more you. The productivity and motivation industry will tell you this is wrong, that you need to keep pushing. That rest is for the weak, that if you're not constantly improving, you're falling behind. But ask yourself, who benefits from you believing that? Not you. You're stressed, exhausted, and never satisfied. The industry benefits. They get your money and attention. They get to build empires on your insecurity. They get rich while you struggle. Stop giving them that power. Take it back. Define productivity for yourself. Maybe productivity means spending quality time with family. Maybe it means creating art with no commercial purpose. Maybe it means staring at the clouds and thinking. Productivity doesn't have to mean economic output. It can mean anything you want it to mean. And success doesn't have to look like a private jet and a mansion. It can look like a life that feels good to live. A life aligned with your values. A life where you feel present and connected. A life where you're not constantly anxious about doing enough. That success the industry can't sell you, because you already have everything you need for it. You don't need an app. You don't need a guru. You don't need a course. You just need to stop listening to people telling you that you need those things. You need to trust yourself, to figure out what matters to you, to do that to the best of your ability, to accept that your best will vary day to day, and to be okay with that. The billion-dollar industry doesn't want you to hear this. They want you scared and searching, inadequate and hopeful, always one purchase away from transformation. But transformation doesn't come from external products. It comes from internal shifts, from changing how you see yourself and what you value, from letting go of arbitrary standards imposed by others, from accepting your humanity with all its messy imperfection. That's the real secret, and it's free. The gurus know this, some of them, at least. The smart ones know they're selling placebo, that their courses and speeches and apps don't actually change lives in any fundamental way. But they also know that people want to believe, that belief itself has power, that the placebo works often enough to create testimonials and keep the machine running. So they keep selling, and people keep buying, and the cycle continues. But you can step off the hamster wheel. You can say no thank you to the industry. You can build a life that works for you without their help. Millions of people throughout history have done exactly that. They accomplished great things without productivity apps. They were motivated without motivational speakers. They set goals without elaborate frameworks. They were productive without productivity systems. Because productivity isn't about tools and techniques. It's about knowing what matters and doing those things. Everything else is just noise. And in the silence, when you turn off the productivity videos and close the apps and stop reading the blogs, you might discover something. You might discover that you're actually okay, that you're doing better than you thought, that the anxiety about not doing enough was manufactured by an industry that profits from that anxiety, that you're not behind, you're not falling short, you're not failing, you're just living your life. And living your life, with all its ordinary moments and unremarkable days, is actually enough. It's always been enough. You just forgot because you were too busy trying to optimize it. The productivity and motivation industry made billions, making you forget that. But you can remember now. You can reject their narrative. You can walk away from the whole thing. And in doing so, you might become more productive than you ever were while chasing productivity. Because Stop spending time and energy on the tools and start spending it on the work. You'll stop preparing and start doing. You'll stop consuming and start creating. And you'll realize that you never needed their help in the first place. That's the real story of the billion-dollar business of motivation gurus and productivity apps. It's a story of manipulation, exploitation, and profit built on human insecurity. But it's also a story of how recognizing the game lets you stop playing, how awareness creates freedom, how you can opt out of a system designed to keep you trapped. The industry will continue. New gurus will emerge. New apps will launch. New courses will promise transformation. But you don't have to participate. You can choose differently. You can choose yourself as you are right now. Imperfect, unoptimized, and enough. Always enough. Watch the next video to discover how Instagram influencers fake their entire lives and why the lifestyle you're jealous of probably doesn't even exist.